Welcome inside Guv Fuller Field. The Falmouth Commodores, winners of 8 of their last 10, trying to keep it going as they host the Brewster Whitecaps. Hi, everybody. I'm Zach Sinek alongside Matt Venezia. We're glad you joined us today. Should be a lot of fun. These two teams have met twice already this year. Falmouth winners of both of those two, Matt. Trying to make it 3 tonight and really going to continue to ride this great offensive stretch.
Yeah, a couple of different games, a 1-0 win for the Doors way back in that first action over at Stony Brook Field, and then obviously the 6-5 win last time these two teams were together.
And last night, the man of the night was John Spikerman. You see the numbers there. Had that home run, his first of the summer. He can really get it done and is starting to get going at the top of this order.
Yeah, he also had a hit as well, came around to score. I mean, those are the numbers you expect in the one slot of the order, to find ways to score runs, but he also drove them in too. When guys at the bottom of the order are playing complimentary baseball, bats like John Spikerman come around like that and will hit big bombs like we saw into left last night at Spillane.
And on the other side, looking at the Brewster side, it's a Commodore over there, but not a Falmouth Commodore. It's a Vanderbilt Commodore, Davis Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz did damage out of the SEC over there at Vanderbilt. A 271 hitter over there. I mean, he's got good numbers so far this season. I mean, he's got a pair of hits in a couple different outings, but 13 hits on the season. He's right up there in the top 5 for this group. Today, we're going to see him in the 2 spot. Got to keep an eye on him if your Evan O'Toole is getting the start tonight.
Going to have to pound the zone for O'Toole. Going to be key in this matchup with Brewster. But before we get to lineups and first pitch, we're going to send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. The Doors, with their win 3 nights ago against YD, moved the Doors up in the rankings for the first time since June 22nd. The Doors are now in the 4 spot in the West Division. It's the same spot the Brewster Whitecaps are in the East. Although with the Doors' 3-game win streak, it's contrast to the Brewster Whitecaps. Right now they're in a 4-game losing streak. The last time these two teams saw each other, the Doors came out on top for the 6-5 win. So there should be another competitive game here at Guv Fuller Field.
Thank you, Destiny. Matt, the Doors have really been hot over the last 10. We mentioned the 8 wins in that span, but really got to talk about the difference that this offense has seen.
I mean, again, 1 through 9, everyone is hot. I mean, you could look at every offensive statistic. I mean, you have a 3-way tie at the top for the team RBI total between several of the different Commodores out in the field, including Kyle DeBarge, Christian Martin, Travis Pizzana. Guys are finding ways to score and bring in runs. McGregor's right up there for the team home run lead right now, and Travis Pizzana's with him there. So it's an exciting time for this Commodores group. Obviously much hotter than they were in the earlier stretch of the season when they won 4 in a row. 8 of 10. To flip around what this team was doing through the first 15 games is pretty impressive, and it's almost like the team's getting aligned with taking on teams that are sort of struggling while this team in Falmouth is soaring. So it's another chance here against, as Destiny said, a Brewster team that's lost 4 straight. You've got to take advantage of these teams, not to mention this team's in the East. The Commodores own the East right now. They've beaten everyone in the East so far and have had a lot of fun in doing it.
Yeah, trying to keep that going, and you mentioned the struggling teams playing the Commodores. Well, that's not going to be the case after today. You've got Bourne and then Kitsui over the next 2 games.
Yeah, no, those are going to be big games. These games get you ready for those big divisional matchups that we're anticipating. And you mentioned Bourne. That's the one team that kind of sort of still has Falmouth's numbers so far. The Doors 0-2-1 overall against Bourne. Now, the games have been very, very close. You have the tie in the second game of the season, 3-3. You had a game over there at Dorn Park that was 6-5, the final, and then you have one here that was 7-6. So the Doors have been within at least a run in every single one of those games. Got to find a way to win one, but you're getting hot at the right time.
And we'll see Bourne tomorrow, but tonight it's the Doors and the Whitecaps. Before we get to the action, we're going to send it down to the field for the national anthem.
Fund provided these child-sized instruments for all the Falmouth elementary schools, so students as early as 4th grade can choose to play French horn as their instrument. Kyrie gives private music lessons at Phytic Music School, teaches band at Mullen Hall Elementary School, and plays in the Falmouth Town Band at their free concerts on the band shell every Thursday night in the summer. We are happy to welcome Morris Pond School to the field tonight. Morris Pond School is Falmouth's public 5th and 6th grade school. Tonight they want to recognize Anson Rogers and Larissa Costa for their random acts of kindness throughout their time at Morris Pond. All the Morris Pond staff is so proud of their handwork, and they are so grateful for all the Morris Pond Ospreys at the field. Congratulations to you both. Let's give a huge round of applause to Anson as he throws tonight's first pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to hear the words we love to hear. Take it away, Larissa.
Play ball.
National anthem, play ball, or done. So that means the only thing left to do is play that ball. We're going to get it started. But before we get going, we're going to take a look at the lineup for the visiting Whitecaps. God, Michael Robertson leading it off, and a lot of SEC bats in that order, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you look, there's a lot of big names that pop off the screen. One to me, you're going to have to keep an eye on is James Tibbs down there in the 5 spot in the order, leads the team in home runs and runs driven in. Tibbs is a guy you got to circle on this lineup card. There's a lot of different guys in this order that, you know, the previous times we've seen Brewster, this team was not on a 4-game skid. They're always a team you got to keep an eye on. I mean, obviously, the championship appearance last year against Bourne, roster turnover for sure, but this team always knows how to put together a roster that's going to play baseball in the middle of August.
They do. They've been in that title game each of the last 2 seasons with a win in 2021, the loss last year. Evan O'Toole will greet them out of Oklahoma State, making his first start of the year.
Yeah, the Cowboys going to take the mound again here for Falmouth, and overall this is going to be game number 3 on the year for O'Toole. He's got good stuff. I mean, you're going to have to keep an eye on a sinker, 4-seam fastball, slider, and a changeup to his work. But again, we saw him in the Katuitt game, just had a very small appearance there at the end of that ball game, a 3-2 loss on July 5th. But looked really good last time at Wareham, not yesterday. 2 innings, struck out 2 batters as well. So good stuff there from the right side, and he does damage out there in Stillwater. Should be good to see him today.
Here's the defense behind him. You notice a little bit of a difference out in left field. Christian Martin, who's been exclusively at second base this summer for the Doors, he's out in left tonight. The rest of the infield and the outfield, though, looks really similar.
Yeah, no, I want to go highlight Christian Martin a little bit. I mean, we saw him at the very beginning of the year taking some reps at third base, too. A lot of the infielders can kind of, you know, work in any one of those spots. But from one side of the infield to the other, that's a big change. Now, going out into the outfield, that's pretty drastic. That just shows you the type of athlete he is, being versatile and all that. But no, should be good to see Martin out there. And again, all the other faces here trying to move Falmouth to another win, trying to take 9 of the team's last 11, starting right now.
Here we go. It's Michael Robertson. In the box, the Florida Gator. To face O'Toole. Starts him with a fastball at 90 miles an hour for strike 1 at 5:59 on this Wednesday night from Falmouth. Robertson able to pull back on that bunt attempt. Evens up the count. Redshirt freshman this season at Florida. Swings right over the top of that changeup. And O'Toole ahead in the count now quickly. It's 1-2.
That's a changeup we were talking about. He's going to use it every now and then, not typically all that often. We talk about winning the 1-1 counts. You can do that with a pitch like that to set up your go-to breaking pitch.
1-2 is nubbed foul. Robertson stays alive. 1 for 8 start to the summer for Brewster. Trying to improve upon that tonight. 0 for 3 over his last 2 appearances. The 1-2 again from O'Toole. Slider that stays outside. Robertson working a good at bat. It's 2-2.
Yeah, obviously O'Toole there trying to get a better feel for that pitch. First time we've seen him go to it tonight.
The break even. Just misses upstairs. and it runs the count full 3-2.
Pretty aggressive sink to that one, even though it's on the higher part of the zone there. You'll see guys do that too. It bites like a really aggressive two-seam fastball.
Payoff pitch, job foul, and Robertson once again staying alive.
He'll make you work. I mean, a lot of games this season started in 56 for the Gators, had 43 hits, hit 230 though. So, you know, obviously getting hits, not maybe the numbers he wants, but he'll make you fight for them as well.
O'Toole trying to win the battle. It's popped up out into the outfield. Spikerman gets to it for out number 1. That ball carried a good way, Matt. The wind blowing hard out to left center.
Yeah, got him to pop one up there. Not bad. I mean, it's a fastball up. You got to be able to get the barrel to that if you're going to give it a ride. You got to be able to catch up to O'Toole there. And, you know, he had to show off all those different pitches that he throws that we talked about at the top of the broadcast. Maybe not what you want to do against the first batter of the night, because this guy here in Davis Diaz got to see them all there from the on-deck circle.
A called strike to start off Davis Diaz. Back-to-back batters started with the first pitch strike from Evan O'Toole. Pulled foul down that third base line from Diaz, and right where you want to be if you're O'Toole, once again in firm control of the count.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how you have to work, you know, and he's got good stuff, good numbers as we talked about at Oklahoma State this year. Nearly 40 innings of work. That was the team lead in innings pitched. He's used to this. He's used to experience now. We talked about the guys coming in and out of the order, getting new pitchers. We even said trying to find a new ace. Who can that be? O'Toole's got the innings to back it up.
The 1-2. Just outside. Tried to catch that outside edge to Diaz, but came up empty. And yet another Brewster hitter is working a good count.
But that's an aggressive slider, though. You're at least showing it to him and making Diaz think about it.
2-2. Pushed the other way. And Diaz finds himself a single. And a one-out base runner for the Whitecaps.
So it's the same location, except that's the fastball. So when you see the slider try to end up in that part of the zone, you're making Diaz think, should I extend the barrel, though, and try to push that the other way? Well, now on the fastball, obviously a little late on it, but you go the other way. You shoot it into the right side, where obviously the shifted infield to the left isn't expecting a play over there. That's textbook hitting from the Vanderbilt Commodore.
First pitch misses to Will Taylor upstairs as he's getting himself going. Diaz with good speed over at first. Turner really doing some damage in the middle of this order for Brewster. Shoots one over the head of a leaping Bazana and into right center. Spikerman to it quickly will hold Diaz at second, but back-to-back singles for the Whitecaps, and they're threatening in the first.
That's a really good piece of hitting there. That's a slider trying to come in on the front door to this righty right there, and able to kind of just guide that barrel the other way, sort of jammed on it just a little bit, but he got a good head on it, and that's why it's lined out there to right. Bazana gave it every bit he could. That's why Diaz had to hold up there. Diaz has only stolen 2 bags this year at Vanderbilt. He's not the biggest threat in the world to run, but he had to wait for that to come down, and that's why he's still standing at second.
Brings up the catcher, Derek Berg, out of Army. Takes first pitch in. It's 1-0. O'Toole trying to get himself comfortable from the stretch. Gets back even in this count as he fires that one in.
Berg did some damage at West Point this year. Started all 55 games, better than 300 on the year, and he slugged nearly 600. He's not your typical, you know, player that's going to go, you know, to the military academies and just try to play and go off and do service too. I mean, he's a great baseball player and has made noise in trying to get here to the Cape League, and here he is.
Runs inside on the 1-2. We're even up. O'Toole, native of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, up in Canada. Started his collegiate career at Iowa Western Community College before heading to the Big 12 at Oklahoma State. 2-2. Chopper going to be a tough play for DeBarge. He's going to let it roll. Foul. Smart play by Kyle DeBarge. And it takes away an infield hit from Berg.
I mean, Berg's not going to beat you down the bases unless he gets one to settle like that unintentionally. But what a decision by DeBarge. I mean, I thought he had a chance to make that kind of a play. It's tough, though. When it's that slow and not moving towards you that fast, you know, you're not really riding with the baseball's momentum. You kind of have to stop and still be able to carry yourself through the throw. And from a side position like that, that's not easy. What a great decision, though, to leave it there. And that allows O'Toole a chance to find the second out right here.
Trying to win the battle against Berg. Another ground ball. This one much easier to play. 6-4-3. And the decision from DeBarge pays off. The Doors put up a 0 in the top of the first. Falmouth offense to the plate when we come back. Evan O'Toole worked himself out of some trouble in the top half. Now the Falmouth offense trying to get things going in the bottom half.
Yeah, it's scary everywhere you look, especially the way that this team's hitting the baseball right now. I mean, I could pick someone randomly for you right now. Cade Snell. He's riding an 8-game win streak, 4 consecutive with at least 2 hits in the game. I mean, he's down there in the 6th spot in tonight's lineup. I mean, that's just not typical from, you know, a normal lineup. But in the Cape League, these guys are used to being big-time bats at their universities. We've talked about that. But to have everyone clicking at pretty much the same exact time, that's dangerous, and you like your team's chances against any staff the Cape League can put together.
Well, they're going to have to get something done against Brennan Phillips tonight, who's on the mound, yet another Oklahoma State Cowboy.
Yeah, I like the matchup here. The Stillwater Arms going for it. Had himself a decent season. I mean, only started 6 games in 10 tries. The ERA a little inflated over 26 innings. Got beat with the extra base hits, though. Gave up 11 in his 26 innings of work. Probably not a number that he likes to see, but nonetheless struck out 22 guys over 12 walks. He's very, very capable, and those are the numbers that he's done here so far in the Cape League. As you mentioned, Zach, he's already seen the Commodores.
He was a prep All-American in high school out of Owasso High School in Oklahoma, and you mentioned, Matt, that last outing against the Commodores, he was pretty good. Walked the first man he faced, but then retired the next 3 to work a scoreless inning in that 6-5 Commodores win back here about a week ago at Guv Fuller Field. Quick look at the defensive alignment for Brewster as well. Tibbs, Turner, and Robinson, a good defensive outfield. When Diaz, Green, and White on the infield, along with Jared Jones. As Phillips starts off John Spikerman with a strike to get his outing underway. Mainly a sinker-slider mix for the most part for Phillips. They're working a changeup sometimes as well. And right on cue, there it is. Spikerman swings over it. It's quickly 0-2.
That one dives pretty drastically there. It looks like the 13 inches of vertical drop there. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Just kind of almost acts like a splitter. Just drops right out of the bottom of the baseball.
Spikerman lays off of another one outside. It's a 1-2 count to the switch hitting Oklahoma Sooner. A little bedlam action here. A series that you won't see continue in football anymore going forward, Matt.
No, not at all. I mean, when you have the Sooners making the jump out there to the SEC along with Texas, I mean, some people have mixed feelings about it. I think, you know, money and other politics of sports nowadays are starting to drive certain moves.
Spikerman chops it in fair territory. And a nice job by Berg behind the plate. Come out and make the play for out number 1.
Yeah, the 2-3 put out there by Berg coming out there. That was another one of those changeups to do exactly that. Just get on the top of it and not really put it far at all. I mean, catchers are defensive players as well. I know they sit there and catch the baseball, but they'll get out in the field if they have to, too. And the black knight right there, Berg, has to adjust his equipment a little bit, but nonetheless able to find that put out. It's always tough, though, when John Spikerman's running down the bases like that because you know time is certainly of the essence in trying to get that baseball out.
Looks like he's messing with the pitch-com type setup that he's got there.
The IFB may be coming a little bit loose.
Doesn't usually have to get out of the stance that quickly right away to try and get to the baseball, but does it pretty well there. And now we'll see one of the hottest hitters on the Cape in Travis Bazzana.
Yeah, Bazzana's been as hot as they come, and there's no other way to put it. Right around draft time this year, he'll be a name you got to keep an eye on moving into the next year.
7-game hit streak for Bazzana, multi-hit games in 6 of those 7, including the cycle at Orleans a few days ago.
What a night that was for baseball too, Zach. I mean, the fog delay, didn't know if we were going to keep playing baseball, a lot of ins and outs of that baseball game, but for the Doors to come away with an offensive slugfest in that one was real good to see.
Such a weird game baseball is in terms of the time of it. That game with a fog delay was a minute shorter than the game last night that had no delays. Bazzana pulled it just foul down the first base line, out in front of that pitch, tried to turn on it, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, yesterday took a little while, but that's, yeah, as you mentioned, that's sometimes how the game goes. I mean, the Commodores, again, put up double-digit hit numbers against a pitching staff that surrenders the most amount of runs in the Cape League with those Wareham Gatemen, and when you have a lineup 1 through 9 that's hitting the way the Doors are, sometimes they'll put a lot of traffic on those bases, and it takes a while for them to all come in.
Bazzana continues to stay alive. Always a tough AB. Get a lot of guys that play baseball and multi-sports here in the U.S., but Bazzana from 7th to 12th grade played cricket as well out in Australia. Bounces that one to second. It bounces off of Mason White and not in time. As an E4 allows Bazzana to reach.
Well, Travis will probably be looking at us wondering why he doesn't get credit for the hit there. I mean, it's a tough play for White, moving there to make that play, but anytime it beats you up like that off your chest, it's a pretty good indicator to our scorer up here that that's going to be an error, and double play in order. But again, Bazzana always finding a way to get on board like he is now.
DeBarge steps in and sends one back to the screen. Very good season at Louisiana for Kyle DeBarge, and continuing that success on to the Cape this summer. Takes down to even it up at 1-1. He's been playing a lot of third base for the Doors this summer. Talked to him about that earlier today, and he says he really likes it over there.
I mean, when you have as many infielders as the Commodores do, or at least have had, different guys are going to try different things out, and that only helps him moving forward in the case of maybe needing to play some third base over at Louisiana and checking different things out. But it only makes him look more versatile and more appealing for a guy who's getting ready still to sort of approach his upperclassman years and looking for some of the scouts you see here in the Cape League to keep an eye on him.
He was a mainstay in that Louisiana order this season with a 371 average. He's got the average at 274 here on the Cape. Looking to increase the on-base percentage right here as he's ahead in the count. It's 3-1.
He didn't struggle with on-base percentage, though, at school. 448. Nearly a flip of a coin if DeBarge is going to find a way on.
He'll find a way on here. Works a 5-pitch walk. The error and then the walk, and the Doors in a very similar position that Brewster was in different ways, but they're trying to come through.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, the first out to Spikerman out in the field and then 2 consecutive hits. Well, now you get the first out and John hitting because he retired the first batter out in the field. But then here now the error and the walk. Can Falmouth find a way to break through?
McGregor swinging on the first pitch, skies it high up in the air to left. A long run for Tibbs, but he'll make the catch for out number 2. And so the cleanup hitter isn't able to get it done. Now he'll give way to Walker Yannick.
Got to be careful there, though. That's that changeup that we talked about, but it started up and kind of drops right over the middle of the zone. And when you're taking on McGregor here, you got to be real careful with that pitch. Right back over the middle of the zone, and he lit up there trying to find that pitch and just got underneath it, hitting it the other way.
Here comes Walker Yannick. Sam Houston Bearcat coming off of a good sophomore season down in Houston, takes to get himself ahead in the count.
Just saw his former Bearcat teammate Joe Redfield get drafted to the Angels. The Angels of Anaheim. Should be good to see Joe work through the system there. Congratulations to Mr. Redfield.
Takes once again upstairs. Yannick, one of the best defensive players in the WAC over the last couple of seasons. He was tournament most outstanding player in the WAC this season with Sam Houston State. Finished the year red hot for the Bearcats.
And we've seen stints of it. I mean, when we talk about these players that have been hot, Yannick's just I think he's kind of been there. I mean, he shows up every game. Right now, quietly, he's riding himself a 7-game hit streak right now, but he hasn't been one of those guys that we've been amping up in terms of who's been super hot. Yannick's just been there. He's been quiet. He's a veteran. He does his job behind the plate. What we do mention is how often he gets beat up back there. I mean, the poor guy's getting foul balls left and right off of him and still finds a way to be in there every other day.
Works a 4-pitch walk here and will trot down there loaded up for Cade Snell.
Well, this is not the guy you want to load the bases to. Cade Snell, as I mentioned briefly earlier, I mean, his average has skyrocketed up to 366 at second on the team right now for Falmouth. The 8-game hit streak himself. I mean, everyone, doesn't matter who's in the on-deck circle or what. Anytime a guy stands in, they always have a chance to keep their hit streaks and their hotness alive, and Cade Snell is no different in the designated hitter role today.
Lefty-lefty matchup for him, though. He takes high. That's 5 straight balls, and even more than that if you go back to DeBarge, if you exclude the slider that was popped out by McGregor.
And Phillips didn't struggle with the free passes at school, but we're starting to see a little bit of that here. Just can't really find the control on these pitches. I know you're trying to be careful against good hitters. That's okay. You can work the corners, but right now we're not really seeing a whole lot contestable. The bats of the doors are just chilling on the shoulders right now, not really any threat to move them.
Gotta wonder if Snell's going to take a strike in this situation with the bases loaded, and he will, as the fastball catches the outside corner to Snell. And get Phillips back into this one. It's a 2-1 count.
Yeah, it's a better pitch. I mean, you can work on the outside. That's what we're talking about. He just shook off Berg, though. You got to wonder, in struggling to find the zone here, maybe he's just got one pitch he wants to keep going to.
Goes the fastball. It's roped into right for a base hit. 1 run scores. DeBarge headed around, and he'll follow him in. A 2 RBI single for Cade Snell. He stays hot, and the Doors are in front early.
Hit streak extends to 9. Cade Snell picks up more RBIs. He had a couple of them yesterday. And my goodness, Cade Snell, it just you saw him in batting practice today. Everyone was just cheering for him as he was just roping baseballs on the pull side into right center. And right there, he comes through, got his pitch. We're talking about the fastball. He shook off Berg for the slider, goes with the hot stuff. Cade's not going to miss that.
Yannick takes off for third. Berg tried to come up throwing, and it popped away from him. So a stolen base for Walker Yannick. Snell moves up as well. And there's 2 in scoring position with 2 away.
Well, the guys will certainly appreciate that on the bases, especially Cade Snell. He didn't steal a whole lot. He gets credit for one there on the double steal.
Martin swings through that pitch.
And Christian Martin, another sort of quiet kind of guy that we haven't mentioned a whole lot recently, but he's at the top in this team, and RBIs collected in a 3-way tie. He finds a way to get on base.
Breaking ball bends back towards the zone. Phillips, not sure why he didn't get the call on that one, but Martin's going to continue this AB.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the zone. There's no doubt. Our new setup here with TrackMan shows us that's in there. Sometimes you get away with them.
Fastball high, and it's 2-2. Martin working a good AB, trying to keep things alive. Virginia Tech Hokie with a couple on the pond here in the first. Sends the first of that 2-2 offerings back to the screen, and he'll get a second one.
He's been living with that fastball up right now, whether it's away from the left-handed hitter and Martin are trying to jam him inside. That one in the zone, though. The previous one was up and in. It's tough to lay off those pitches, but good decision to at least fight that one off.
Break even, swing and a miss. Punches him out with the slider, and the Doors strand a pair in scoring position, but get to a cross. A 2-0 lead headed to the second from Falmouth. An early lead for Falmouth. The Bats continuing to get things going, this time with some help from Brewster, though. A couple of unearned runs coming across after that error.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough. We were talking to the broadcasters of Brewster earlier today, and this team's just trying to find it right now. 4 straight losses. When the pitching's there, the hitting's not. And when the hitting's there, the pitching isn't. I mean, that was a stretch that we were both very familiar with in calling those baseball games. It's tough. But sometimes all it takes is just finding a way to gut one across. Just find a way. That game for the Doors was at Orleans in the first matchup over there. Barely winning 4-3. Only had 4 hits in the game. Plentiful of errors across both sides. But sometimes it takes just getting one. And right now, if you're Falmouth, you got to take advantage of that kind of a team going through a slump like that.
First pitch swinging from James Tibbs to start the inning. DeBarge looking for it, and he'll find it in play for out number 1.
Well, that works. That's a good way to start the inning in terms of Evan O'Toole using a good amount of pitches there and a couple of those tight at-bats with Michael Robertson and Davis Diaz in the previous inning, and even the double play ball of Derek Berg. I mean, they're making you work. It's a good result there, 1 pitch, 1 away.
Now here comes Jaime Ferrer. Good numbers at Florida State, but struggling against the Doors this season. 0 for 8 against Falmouth in the 2 meetings. 1-0 to him, and he'll change that right there with a 1-out single. Back-to-back innings with a 1-out hit for Brewster. Trying to get at least one of those runs right back.
It's funny how this game works. That one right there looks to be that slider from O'Toole. Low and away. Go down there and reach for it if you're Ferrer. He puts it up the middle. He leads the league, or 4th rather, in runs scored, does Jaime Ferrer. He's always dangerous when he gets on, always finds a way to come in, even if it's not a whole lot, compared to what the offensive output it's been for this Brewster team. But when he's on base, you got to keep tabs.
It's Mason White now, from someone in Ferrer who had struggled against the Doors to someone in Mason White who has done really well. He's hitting .400 in the 2 meetings. Arizona Wildcat looking to do some damage. O'Toole falls behind 2-0. Ferrer just one stolen bag on the summer. Still not moving on that side. It's a 2-1 count to White.
Good fastball low and away there. Green light swing looking for that pitch, but when you locate it, you don't get beat like that. You got to be really trying to hit the outside in the box to locate and be able to hit a pitch like that in that spot.
O'Toole with some good fight as he evens things up at 2-2.
That's what a lot of these at-bats have been. You fall behind 2-0, you got to find a strike, but you can't give him anything to swing at. That's what we saw there previously. Now you get him to chase a nice slider there. Opens up your arsenal to go to something you feel comfortable with. He just shook off Yannick. Let's see what he prefers here and if it pays off.
Gets him to swing through a changeup. And quickly, O'Toole with a bounce-back strikeout. 2 away.
That's a really good pitch there. Went to that changeup that dropped so nicely. Looks like a fastball out of the hand. Falls out of the zone there. Get him to chase. It's a good pitch to go to. But when it's 2-2, if that's left off, well, then it's 3-2. You got to come back with a pitch. You don't want to lose another batter. Really, really good job by O'Toole to make that one look like a strike for a little while.
Fires in a fastball to start off Jared Jones. Big looming presence in that right side.
And one of the many LSU Tigers we've seen here recently getting in from that championship win at Omaha. Really good numbers at school en route to that victory in the College World Series final. I mean, hit over 300, drove in 45 runs. We talk about Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz being those two guys that you know from that LSU lineup. There are plenty of other guys that help assist in that effort.
Takes low and outside. He's ahead in the count. Still looking for his first hit of the summer with Brewster. 0 for 8 to this point. But had nearly 50 hits with LSU to go along with that average north of 300 that you mentioned. Big cut at that 2-1. Comes up empty.
Couldn't quite tell if he was waiting on that pitch or if he was just way out in front of it. I mean, that was a big, big swing from Jones. Sets you up with a chance to get out of the inning.
O'Toole with back-to-back punch-outs to sit down Brewster and work around that one-out single. The Whitecaps have 3 hits through 2, but still no runs. Head to the bottom half. Falmouth trying to increase on the lead. But before we hit the break, Destiny Sanchez has a message from Cape Cod Healthcare.
Cape Cod Healthcare is proud to be the official healthcare sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League and shares a reminder that blood donated to the Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod. Help save the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/blood-center. Cape Cod Healthcare, caring commitment community. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Eight 9-1 for the Doors in the bottom of the second. Trying to add on to an early 2-0 lead. Scoring first has been a good indicator of success this season, and Falmouth hoping to keep that going.
I mean, a lot of those numbers, I think, inflated a little bit with, how poor the start of the season was for this Falmouth team. Now you like its chances anytime it's playing a baseball game. Always finding a way to come back in games. You mentioned, the other night, yesterday, down 1-0 early to Wareham in the second inning. You respond with a 4-run third inning. Another 4-run inning right after that. Good numbers, obviously. You want to score first. There's no doubt about that. You don't want to play from behind, but that's the beauty of this baseball game. There's no time on the game. You have the opportunity with at-bats.
And the Doors have a chance to get back to 500 tonight for the first time since after just 3 games this season when Falmouth was 1-1-1. They can get to 12-12-2 if they're able to hold this early lead today. Kevin Keelan worked a 2-2 count, and that one took a tough hop off of Derek Berg. He'll take a second to kind of gather himself. Maybe caught him up on the jaw under that mask.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those hockey style, or rather just the 2-piece catcher's helmet there. A lot of times on foul balls or playing balls in the dirt like that, the gear can come loose. It's not all that protective. You look at your chin and almost jawline area, not as protected as the big hockey style mask.
Skied out into left center. Long run in, but Tibbs is there again. Keelan is retired to start off the inning.
Got underneath that one just a little bit, throwing that one up into left center. Good communication from Tibbs charging in. I mean, that's in no man's land. If anything, Peyton Green's got probably maybe the better read on that one just because it's only a couple of feet over his head. The outfielders are playing Keelan a little bit deep there and favoring the right side, but to have to charge in like that takes communication, and the Brewster Whitecaps execute it there.
Now Nate Humphreys has been heating up when he's been in the lineup every other day or so.
Yeah, he's been flipping around with Tab Tracy, it seems like, every other day. Both those guys are getting in there.
Takes high on the 0-2.
But obviously having Christian Martin out in left, I mean, that's just a way to try to get a bat in there that you really like at the moment in Martin.
Hits that one off the end of the bat. Nice play by Mason White to retire Nate Humphreys, and Brennan Phillips feeling a little better about this second inning. 2 quick outs.
Tough play to go grab that baseball there. Mason White playing it on a hop or two there pretty sharply, settling down in just the beginning part of the grass out there in right center. And when you do that, Humphreys is a quick guy. We talked about the stolen bases he had at school at DBU.
Spikerman puts it down the line. It's going to stay fair, and you'll never get him on that one. A bunt single with 2 outs keeps the inning alive.
Anytime you can extend the inning for Travis Bazzana, regardless of the situation, you always like your chances with the way he's swinging the baseball bat. And I think a lot of that has to do with why John lays a bunt there. Yeah, you know, he's got speed. He could beat it out, but he could beat it out in any situation. Here, you want Bazzana to get as many at-bats as he can in a given ball game, and this is already his second here in the second inning.
And Bazzana starts this at-bat ahead in the count. Spikerman already with a few stolen bags on the summer. And Bazzana with a 2-0 count. You don't necessarily want to take the bat out of the hand of Bazzana, so they may not see Spikerman take off, but on the other hand, if he takes second, you've got a man in scoring position. It's a 3-0 count now to Bazzana.
Yeah, right now they're on the mound. You can just tell Phillips keeping good tabs on Spikerman, as you were talking about. Is he going to go or not? Lefty obviously facing first base. You need to attack Bazzana.
Bazzana swinging 3-0 upstairs and shaking his head after that one.
To that previous point, much easier said than done. You want to worry about the batter here with 2 out. So just attack the batter. Well, the batter is the best hitter in the Cape right now, so it's very, very difficult to do that.
There goes Spikerman on first move. They throw to first, and he beats it out anyways. We talk about the pure speed from John Spikerman. He moves up without a pitch even being thrown.
Well, by the time Phillips delivered that baseball over to first base where Jones could receive it, it was not thrown all that hard. I mean, by the time the throw goes over to second base, John's already sliding head first. You're never going to get him. You have to be quicker about that.
3-1 is hit high and deep out to center. Turner is back on it at the track, and he'll make the catch running into the wall for out number 3. Falmouth with a threat with 2 away, but come up empty in the bottom of the second. Still 2-0, Doors in front from Guv Fuller Field.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Guv Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
A beautiful night for baseball in Falmouth. 77 degrees. Got some clouds, but some blue skies peeking on through, Matt.
Yeah, it's a hot one, no doubt about it. No threat to rain like it was the other day, and why this game's being played today on this Wednesday is because, obviously the rain delay couldn't play, and the cancellation. We wanted to play baseball on July 10th, but the field conditions here at the Gov said otherwise, and what's normally an off day, sometimes that happens in summer ball. You got to shift things around, and a team that knows that all too well right now is the Chatham A's over there in the East Division, out of off days, and already 3 doubleheaders scheduled. They feel for those broadcasters and the team over there playing a lot of baseball to close out the year.
The Doors with 11 games in 11 days head into the All-Star break right now. This is game 2 of that stretch, and they're starting it off with an early lead. Peyton Green standing in, the 9-hitter for Brewster, with the top of the order following him. Takes inside on the 1-1. Out of NC State, couple of NC State guys on the Falmouth side just heading out after yesterday. Rio Britton and Sam Highfill both finishing up their summers with the Doors in the win at Spillane last night.
Also helped that Rio obviously getting picked up by the D-backs yesterday. He's probably ready to go right into the complex league, I'd imagine, or maybe take a little bit of time off, but really exciting stuff to see there. A couple of guys getting picked. 26 Commodores picked yesterday. What a number that is. Congratulations to Doors both from this season and last year getting the call.
3-2, strike 3 called. Green had already tossed the bat. He'll pick it up on his way back to the dugout as O'Toole picks up strikeout number 3.
Yeah, 3 consecutive, taking good advantage of 7, 8, 9. 3 Ks for the first time through the order. Not the same, though, across the other 6 that he saw, though. Surrendered 3 hits in that stretch. Had to work out of a jam. Both guys now. He stepped back in. Okay, this is how I worked against the batter to lead off the ball game. In this case, Michael Robertson. How do I attack him differently? And if you're Robertson, maybe you try this.
Squares to bunt. DeBarge with a do-or-die throw. And it's a strong throw, but Robertson beats it out. He follows after John Spikerman's lead. Both teams with their leadoff man picking up a bunt single in the first couple of innings.
He's got speed. I mean, when you use it to your advantage like that, the Gator's going to move down the baseline like that, and that's what we see there. Only 1 stolen base on the year for Robertson, and he's probably huffing and puffing over there. We might not see him go on the first one here, but you will have to keep an eye on him now that he's on base.
Davis Diaz and Will Turner, the next 2 in the order, both singled off of O'Toole in the first. It was a double play ball off the bat of Derek Berg that ended that Brewster threat. Had a 1-out single in each of the first 3 innings against Evan O'Toole. Trying to keep Brewster off the board and continue a stretch of what has been a lot of really good starts from the Commodores. Kind of flipping the script from earlier in the season where it was really the bullpen that had to pick up the slack for some starts that were a bit shaky. High chopper, DeBarge backpedaling, and he'll still get the out at second. Diaz beats it out, but a nice play by DeBarge to fire to second base because he would not have had time to throw across the diamond to get Diaz.
That's a tough play. I mean, we talked about the speed in Robertson. I really thought DeBarge was going to eat that one and go across the diamond. That's tough because you're backpedaling, have to settle your base and be able to fire a throw there quickly regardless of the direction that you go. DeBarge got a rocket over there at third and was able to deliver a strike there to second to get the lead runner. That's difficult. A lot easier said than done.
Will Turner on the first pitch. Bazana finds it in shallow right. McGregor finds the bag. And the Doors once again work around a 1-out single. hang another goose egg on the scoreboard in the Brewster category. 2-0 Falmouth in front on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Have big league dreams? Do they want to learn from the stars of tomorrow? Then check out the Falmouth Commodores Summer Baseball Clinics, where kids from the ages of 5 to 14 can hone their skills in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching with help from the best college players in the nation. The clinics run from June to late July, and the 6 4-day sessions are divided by age group and experience level. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Give your kids a summer of baseball and a lifetime of memories.
Go Doors!
Three, 4, 5 in the Falmouth order. Kyle DeBarge, Tyler McGregor, and Walker Yannick to take on Brennan Phillips here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, I mean, 3, 4, 5 helped set the table there in that inning that we saw kind of break out because of Cade Snell coming up, the 2-run single last time. DeBarge reached on a walk, came to score on it as well.
Phillips finding his groove a little bit in that second inning, putting up a scoreless frame. Change-up misses to DeBarge. 1-1 count. But Phillips looks locked in. He is immediately getting right back to the mound, right back into his windup.
I can't blame him. I mean, you got to flush the inning in the first inning by. It's still a close game right now. Your team's putting up hits on Evan O'Toole. Maybe no runs yet, but you got to like the way your team's trying to help you in getting run support.
The first time that these two teams met at Guv Fuller Field, it was 4-0 Brewster headed to the fifth. A 6-run bottom of the fifth inning for Falmouth gave the Doors the lead. That was all the offense they had in that entire game, but it's all they needed.
It was a fun one. It was part of that stretch again, the 4 straight wins where you were wondering, will this team ever lose a game again? Obviously, that's very realistic for that to happen, but just the way the team was working and playing complementary baseball, you never knew they were out of that game.
DeBarge works a leadoff walk. Falmouth won 4 straight and then had a stretch with a loss and then a win and then a loss. And now they've won 3 straight again to get to 8 of their last 10.
It's been fun. I mean, we knew this was going to come eventually. You just hope it continues. Trying to maintain that all the way through as we wind down towards the All-Star break.
Tyler McGregor lines one out to right, but right at Michael Robertson. He had a good scouting report on that one. I don't think he had to move at all.
No, playing pretty deep out there and right, but again, favoring the right side, obviously the pull side of the lefty right at him. That's the first out of the inning.
Here comes Walker Yannick. He worked a walk in that first inning, got all the way around to third after swiping the bag there. I'll check on DeBarge over at first.
We've already seen Phillips be pretty content with keeping tabs on base runners pretty aggressively. Trying to get on Spikerman there with already a check to him when he was on last time. Then Spike decided to go. So you can play mind games over there if you're DeBarge. He's not as much of a threat, say, John Spikerman is. But that tips the hand a little bit to Yannick. If the pitcher's trying to work quickly, he might miss some spots and leave something there over the middle.
Working with the slide step there as it runs high and tight to Yannick.
Not to mention, too, the sidestep against, being a left-handed pitcher always keeps the runner on first thinking about the move over, like this.
There is that move. He's got to mix up the slide step with lifting that leg, though, because if you get into too much of a pattern, you're going to have a guy take off as soon as starts to see any sort of motion, like we saw with Spikerman earlier.
Not to mention, too, as a pitcher, when you're doing so many moves towards first base and mixing up your delivery and already having to juggle so many different thoughts, right there, you got Joe Gravina right behind you, keeping an eye on you as a pitcher. We've seen a lot of balks in the Cape League so far. You got to be extra careful to not do anything you can't.
And right now, Phillips once again struggling to find the zone. Already 3 walks to this point and a 3-1 count to Yannick. Cade Snell standing in that on-deck circle. And he'll get a chance with 2 aboard as Yannick works a walk. 4 walks, a pair of them to DeBarge and a pair to Yannick.
Well, this is Cade Snell's opportunity. He has just had a chance. Every time he comes up, there's always a relatively decent opportunity to bring in some runs. It was 3rd and 2nd last time because of the double steal. That's why the 2 runs came in. Different situation here. You might need a gapper to bring in Yannick. But you always want his bat with a spot like this, given the way he's been barreling up baseballs here over the last several games.
16 hits to this point on the summer for Snell. He's not a guy that's been here the whole season either.
And he's a guy, too, again, the community college route. A lot of the numbers can tend to be inflated. Well, he's getting ready to go to Alabama, and this is quite the start for him.
Testing the reaction time there as he quickly hits the deck, jumping out of the way of that fastball.
Cade had a moment there to kind of collect himself there, had a little smirk on his face. Definitely not intentional on that, especially in a summer ball season, but always got to keep your head on a swivel.
Tried to hold up his swing, but could not. Jeff Merzell calling that one himself at the plate. It is Merzell, the home plate umpire. Joe Gravina down the first base line. Jacob Ashworth down the third base line. But right now is out in the field with those 2 aboard. The 1-2 to Snell. Breaking ball hit high into the air out into right center. Fairly deep. Turner heading back to it. Yannick takes off, DeBarge takes off. He'll head to third. Yannick back to first. Runners on the corners with 2 away for Christian Martin.
Just missed that one. You could tell with the way he's been locked in. He saw that baseball really, really well. Needed another probably 15, 20 feet on that one, but not much more. The way that Cade Snell's been swinging the baseball bat, when that thing gets up into the air on a hanging breaking ball, you like his chances. But a productive out, as we've talked about, there's been a lot of those in this stretch for Falmouth. It'll take something clean for Martin to make it a 3rd run for Falmouth here.
Phillips starts him with a strike. He struck out Martin to end that first inning. Went to that slider that got him to swing right over it. This time he pops up a fastball. Looking for it is Diaz along the dugout, reaching over to make the catch. Davis Diaz shuts it down. The end of the 3rd, but this isn't the only game going on around the Cape. With more on the rest of the scores across the league, we'll send it to Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. We've got 3 other games going on the Cape. The Cotuit Kettleers lead the Harwich Mariners 4-0 in the bottom of the 7th. The YD Red Sox lead the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 2-0 in the top of the 4th. And the Bourne Braves are ahead of the Chatham Anglers 5-0 in the top of the 3rd. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Destiny. Got a few games to keep an eye on that you mentioned. Really thinking about that one in Bourne and the one in Hyannis as well. But before we get more talking about those, let's take a look at this trivia question, Matt. What Commodores drafted in the first round of the 2023 MLB Draft? That was back on Sunday. We mentioned 26 total Commodores drafted. So, who was the first one? I know you know the answer, but...
I know the answer. This is one I actually knew, and not because of what we saw from our game day and social media crew. whipping out the graphics on social media to update all of Commodores fans of the guys drafted. I actually knew this one beforehand, so I'm proud of that.
Moving on up.
Yeah. I mean, well, when we're doing trivias from guys that are before our time here, I mean, it's a little bit tough. But, no, I like this trend we've been doing, just adding some more funds and, and perks to our broadcast here. Let us know what you think. Activate and be, talking there on Twitter and let us know. But this certain Commodore, the first guy off the board out of those 26, 8 from this year's team, too.
Yes.
That's my hint. He is not from this year's team.
Correct. He was here a year ago for the Doors.
We did not see him.
No, we did not. But now he's headed off to play in Pro Bowl. Evan O'Toole's back out for the top of the 4th.
I thought you were going to say where he's playing.
No, I thought about it, but I was like, I don't want to go there yet. Can't make it that simple.
No, definitely not. But no, I mean, Evan O'Toole's been working real well. We talked about the hits, at least a hit in every single inning. But he's gotten help from his defense on a couple of ground balls and things like that. Just try to keep it going and throw strikes. You're attacking a team here that's been, sort of cold recently. They're trying to find their own bats and their own ways right now. You never want to be the team or that game that gets a team off the schneid, but you need to attack a team that's trying to figure it out.
Berg hits one deep out into left center. Spikerman back to the wall, and he'll watch it fly. Derek Berg gets Brewster on the board with a long ball to deep left center, and it's 2-1.
Not a bad pitch. It starts over the middle to Derek Berg. We talked about his numbers at West Point, but that's a changeup there. It starts over the middle of the plate. Doesn't quite drop enough, though, out of the zone. Derek Berg makes him pay. I mean, that one was barreled. Knew it from here. That one went a long way out there to left center.
This one drilled out to deep left, but Christian Martin runs it down. Brewster seeing O'Toole well this second time through the order.
Yeah, you got to be careful. There's activity now in the bullpen for the Commodores. You like what O'Toole's given you so far, but you can work with the ball being put in play because you can work pitches and you can find situations to get ground balls or fly balls or whatever it may be. The solo shots in a game where you only have 2 runs so far, that's where you got to kind of watch yourself. And in response, Mike Landry wants some arms up.
Now Jaime Ferrer steps in, singled back in his first AB in the second. Seminole trying to get something done against the Cowboy from Oklahoma State. Got a quick stoppage. Jeff Merzel going to go pick up that baseball. Bounced back towards the field of play after hitting that backstop. Quick 2-0 count to Ferrer. Leadoff home run won't kill you if you're O'Toole. Just got to settle back in and continue to do what you've done through the first 3 innings and find your way through a pretty good order from the Whitecaps.
Yeah, the Whitecaps are loaded. I mean, this was a good team right out of the gate. Hadn't lost until the Commodores took them on. That was very early on in the season. It's a really impressive win for Falmouth. It's the team's second win on the year. Team's first one was Harwich, so doing some damage, as we mentioned, against this East Division. The Doors have played them very, very well.
7-4-1 for Falmouth against the East, trying to pick up their 8th win against their cross-divisional foes. They've got the 2-1 lead, but a 3-2 count to Jaime Ferrer in the 4th. It's Cassius Thomas warming for the Doors as well, and a big strikeout for Evan O'Toole for out number 2.
It's a changeup. It doesn't, right now, it's not really dropping as much as you'd maybe like from O'Toole there. That one's starting over the middle, and guys are just swinging over the top of it. That's the job of the pitch, but if you leave it in the zone, some guys are able to time it up like we saw Berg do there, but you get the result there. That's a good pitch to pick up a strikeout.
Mason White spins one foul down that third base line to start off his at-bat. There's a changeup on the outer edge that he just tried to reach for and couldn't get all of it. Goes right back to it, finding success with that pitch against White. He struck him out on it in the last AB, and he went to it back-to-back times to get ahead 0-2.
Well, especially with the damage we saw earlier, no reason to not do that again.
He does throw a third straight changeup, but this time White learns his lesson, lays off it, and it's 1-2.
And you don't get beat by it. You know that even if he does make contact, it's a foul ball or it's something slow that won't hurt you.
1-2 is roped down the line. It's going to stay in and bounce off the wall. Humphreys gets to it, fires in a rope to second to make it close, but White in standing up just ahead of the tag with a 2-out double.
Not quite sure how Mason White got to this baseball. Statcast is telling us that was really, really low. It's a fourth straight changeup. I like the spot. That's just a good job by the hitter to go down and golf and get that one. The only problem with throwing 4 straight changeups is eventually you start to see it a little bit, especially from a guy that struck out on that same pitch. Going back to the dugout, seeing it there, sitting up on the top step over there in that third base dugout of Brewster. Mason White got all of that one, a couple of hops into the wall, and now it's a 2-out threat.
And it's Jared Jones who steps in and takes the fastball to start off his AB. He was a strikeout victim in the second as well. Brewster already with the 1 run in the inning on the long ball that led us off from Derek Berg, looking to even things with White at second. O'Toole quickly ahead, 0-2, spins the slider in at the knees. Get himself in a good spot.
Really good pitch there. Hadn't used it this inning yet. Just keeping guys honest. Instead of one or the other fastball changeup, well, here's the slider. Gets you ahead by a lot.
0-2, swing and a miss. O'Toole bounces back 3 pitches to strike out Jared Jones and retire the side, but Brewster gets one on the long ball, cuts into the deficit, and the Doors still holding that 2-1 lead, headed to the bottom half on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Could have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Gavin Keelan leads us off. 8-9-1. The bottom of the fourth. Falmouth trying to respond after the Brewster long ball. Sent back to the screen. Trying to bunt that one. It's 0-1. Phillips still out for his 4th inning of work. Bends one in to Keelan. It's quickly 0-2 to the Louisville Cardinal. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Berg fires down to complete the out. So Phillips in his groove right now, picks up his 2nd strikeout and starts off the inning well.
Yeah, pretty quick at bat there from Gavin Keelan. Couldn't quite get enough on that curveball there. Going away from him there, left on left. It's a good sequence. I mean, a really good response. And very quietly, you like what you've seen so far from Phillips on the mound.
Just the 2 unearned runs he's given up so far. Humphreys ahead in the count. The fastball stayed upstairs.
And only 2 hits. It's just been the walks that have gotten to him. But if you can minimize the possible damage of putting guys on, which is what the Whitecaps have done today. It's 6-2 Brewster in hits. I mean, the Whitecaps are having a far better offensive game aside from the 2-run single. A couple of extra base hits as well already. The home run we saw from Berg, the double by Mason White.
1-1, just laid off by Humphreys. Good breaking ball that just missed the zone low and away. Doors have Cassius Thomas warming in the pen. Have to wonder if we've seen the last of Evan O'Toole today. After 4 innings of 1-run ball. And it's 2-2 to the Doors right fielder in Humphreys. Good at-bat, works it full.
Yeah, we were talking, it's not all entirely situational in summer ball, just trying to get guys looks when they're hot and ready to go.
3-2 takes strike 3. Phillips froze him. Back-to-back punch-outs. Lineup card flips over with 2 away.
Yeah, looked to be a good slider there coming back in, left on Humphreys right there. And, you know, he kind of knew it. Didn't really say a whole lot. Walked back to the dugout. I think he just wasn't expecting the pitch. As you mentioned, froze him. That's a good way to describe that moment there. But now you flip it back to the top. And John Spikerman.
Breaking ball on the first pitch. Spins into the zone for strike 1. Spikerman had the bunt single in the second. Another bender. Catches the zone. Quickly in front of Spikerman 0-2. He homered yesterday from that right side. Got more power from that side. Instead, doesn't use too much of it. Just flips it over the head of Mason White and out into right field for yet another 2-out single.
I was just getting ready to say that right now Phillips has found a good feel for that breaking pitch. I mean, he puts this one right on the block, but the problem is when you throw so many consecutively, that's all Spikerman saw in that at-bat for obvious reasons because of the scouting report, and you see the bunt laid down and just working differently. You know, Phillips had a good feel for that pitch, and John did what you have to do from the right side. If a guy's going to point the block like that on the outer third, just casting your arms out and putting one the other way, that's exactly what he does. He drops one in there for a 2-out base hit.
Now Travis Bazzana, he's up ahead in the count. Trying to keep a 12-game on-base streak going right now. Already has the 7-game hit streak that's included in that. And he's up quickly in the count. Chopper on the ground to second. Mason White will retire Bazzana, and the Doors strand another. But still in front after 4. It's 2-1. We're going to send it down to the field now with Desney Sanchez.
The Cape League All-Star Game is coming to White House Field in Harwich on July 22nd. Gates will open at 1:30 p.m. and a home run derby will begin at 4 p.m. First pitch is scheduled for 6 p.m. Tickets are $10 each with free admission for children 12 and under. Tickets are now available online at capecodbaseball.org, at the merchandise booth under the press box at Guv Fuller Field, or will be available at the gate on July 22nd. Buy yours today and come watch the top players from across the league all on the same field on July 22nd. We'll catch you guys on the other side of the break. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Top of the 5th, Cassius Thomas takes the mound, but you get to see the standings, and for the first time since back on June 22nd, Falmouth in a playoff position, up ahead of Wareham now into 4th place in the West.
And the Gatemen right now not playing today. You have a chance to take advantage and move a little bit further ahead because of the Gatemen actually getting the off day. A lot of these teams were impacted by weather over the last week or so, so using this off day per se to make up contests. But around the game right now, I mean, Hyannis trailing to YD over there in the east. You're starting to climb a little bit further than that 4th spot, which is right where you want to be if you're the Falmouth Commodores, with Cassius Thomas now taking the mound, looking to get a nice hold here.
And he's got himself some good stuff. Fastball, curveball, changeup, and also a slider that he's been working on this summer.
Yeah,
he is electric. Just has to be able to find the zone.
Yeah, that's, we were talking about that last time in Orleans when we got to see Cash make his debut. His stuff looked real good, real hot. I mean, he's going to throw this fastball in the low to mid 90s without a problem. This is a guy who just finished his freshman year at Duke. I mean, he absolutely brings it for coming off his rookie year. But as you mentioned, over just an inning and 2/3 the other night in Orleans, had 6 walked batters, struck out 3. So like he knows what he's doing in terms of using his stuff to his advantage, but it's when he locates it, when he controls it. We'll see if he's able to dial it back in here a little bit and provide some innings here for Mike Landry and this staff in what's otherwise now a pretty close ball game. You can't walk all those batters in this spot because you don't have the 6 runs right now that you did in Orleans with the help of Travis Pizzana's cycle, of course.
9-1-2 to greet Cassius Thomas. The fastball upstairs at 92 to start off Peyton Green. Final line for Evan O'Toole. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, just the 1 run given up. Punched out 5 and no walks allowed. Green ahead in the count at 2-0. Big swing at the 2-0. Tips it back into the glove. Thomas back into the count.
Good decision there to mix up the offering there with something slower than the fastball on the 2-0 pitch and got the result.
Goes back to the heater. Bounces it in. It's a hitter's count 3-1 to Peyton Green. There's a lefty up and warming in the Brewster bullpen, Brennan Oxford out of Florida State. 3-1 from Thomas. Once again, tipped into the glove, and runs it full at 3-2. That high leg kick gets the strikeout. The 3-2 fastball. As he finds the zone, and Green goes down swinging. First punch out for Thomas.
Pretty encouraging to see him battle back there and not lose the first batter you see. Sometimes that's what you need as a pitcher who needs to work on the control a little bit. When you're able to attack and get that first hitter, even seeing the bit of adversity we've been talking about, falling behind 3-1, you go with 2 straight fastballs, you get the result. 2 swing and misses.
Starts off Robertson with a fastball for a strike. Trying to dial himself in. Robertson 1 for 2 on the day. Had a bunt single in his last AB in the 3rd. And he's even 1-1. Off speed that stayed outside from Thomas. Trying to work that slider back into the zone. Couldn't get it to bend back enough. Fires one in at 94. Fastest we've seen from him tonight. It's 1-2.
Getting the inside third there, low and in. Yannick was setting up more over the middle, had to reach across there. Jeff Marzell still giving the call. Sometimes that's an indicator. If the catcher moves, you won't always get that call.
1-2 bounces in. Even things up. Thomas, really highly touted recruit. Top 50 in the country in the class of 2022. Played his high school ball at Sierra Canyon out in California. 2-2 curveball. Robertson knew it immediately. Heads right back into the dugout. 2 batters, 2 punch-outs for Cassius Thomas.
That's a really good sequence. Again, you're trying to battle back a little bit. We don't see the 3-ball count in that situation there, but what a time to go to that breaking ball. What a great curveball there, just dropping in, as you mentioned. Just kind of leaves you buckled. Not really much to do there other than just put your head down and walk to the dugout when you mix in a pitch like that.
Now gets Davis Diaz, who's found himself on first base after each of his first 2 ABs. The second one, though, by way of the fielder's choice. Lines it into left. But Martin is on it for out number 3, a 1-2-3 frame from Cassius Thomas. The Doors halfway through this game in front, 2-1 on the Commodores Baseball Network. Kyle DeBarge will lead it off, and he's going to greet the new arm, Brennan Oxford, out of Florida State.
Yeah, the Seminole, now his 4th appearance, 2 in 2 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts. Was used on July 9th, a scoreless inning against Bourne with a strikeout picked up. We mentioned a Seminole here. Now, there's been a lot of guys from down south here in this Cape League, but a 5.63 ERA at school this year, 32 innings, struck out 45 over 17 walks. I mean, he's legit there from the left side.
And he worked a scoreless inning the last time these two teams played here at the Guv. 1 strikeout to his name in that appearance, and 1 walk as well. DeBarge sends this one a mile into the air. Peyton Green is there for out number 1.
Pretty routine there on the infield, getting under it. DeBarge trying to jump on something there from the new arm. Different look than what Peyton Green brings, but they're both from the left side. Looks pretty similar.
Now you get Tyler McGregor looking for his first hit of the ball game. 0 for 2, hit the last one really hard out to right field, just right at Robertson. Out in front on the breaking ball. Evens it up.
It's a good pitch. Just way out in front of it. Obviously there was McGregor. Thought he was getting the fastball there.
Does get the fastball this time and sends it back to the screen. Oxford in control on the mound. It's 1-2.
He does give up base runners, though. 1.5 whip earlier this year at school. Part of his game that you got to keep an eye on when you have him working quickly out of the stretch.
McGregor chases that one in the dirt. And he goes down swinging. First punch out for Oxford, second out of the bottom of the 5th.
I mean, we talk about the offensive outburst from this Falmouth team right now, going up against a team that's struggling to score runs. I mean, Brewster right now really keeping these guys in check right now. Despite having a staff that's got the third highest ERA in the Cape League, going up against really the hottest offense right now in the Cape. It's been a pitcher's duel here. There's no other way to put it.
Whitecaps' arms have looked good so far. Breaking ball drops in for a called strike to start Yannick.
Only 3 hits for the Doors. They keep opponents wary. Only 230 on the average this year. That's third best as well.
Yannick hits that one hard out to center. Back on it is Turner to the wall, leaping. It's gone. Walker Yannick got the same pitch, and he wasn't going to let that one go by a second time. First long ball of the summer for Yannick, and the Doors lead is back to 2.
Got a hanging breaking ball. Takes it the longest part of the ballpark. Walker Yannick, not bad. Way to get your first long ball here in the Cape, and we were waiting for him to get going. Hit 15 of them this year at school with the Bearcats. That one got out of here in a hurry, and he didn't miss it. Big run of insurance here in the 5th.
Now Cade Snell steps in. Pops up the first pitch. Diaz with a long run. He'll run out of room. Already made one of those plays in foul territory, leaning over the dugout. But that one found the screen. Cade Snell's been all around the state of Alabama. Started Auburn, then went to Wallace Community College, and now to University of Alabama. It's quickly 0-2 to Snell. He's got himself a 9-game hit streak now after his hit in the first inning. Brought in the first 2 runs of this ball game. Just continues to work really good at bats. Not afraid to go the other way, not afraid to pull the baseball if he gets something in as well.
We've seen him do it. And that sharp base hit up the middle, the only bit of offense we've seen from Falmouth up until that home run.
Breaking ball, chopped back. You hear a lot of statements about swords in baseball. He looked like he was swinging a sword on that one, coming through and just getting a piece of it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day for Snell. The 2-run single, nearly got his head taken off there on a fastball in the previous at-bat from Brennan Phillips. Then he had a sword in the previous at-bat. Now you see one here.
Takes out on the slider. 2-2 count to Snell, who also is a pitcher at Wallace Community College. Hasn't had to be used yet this summer. We'll see if they do use him as a two-way guy or not. 2-2 out, and from 0-2 to 3-2.
And he pitched 66 innings. I mean, he was used quite a bit over there for a guy who's been a designated hitter. Given that, though, he hasn't been in the field in a while. You could go to him if you really were low on arms, although 2 new guys are here today that we may or may not see.
3-2, misses outside, and that hurts for Oxford. Ahead 0-2 on Snell with 2 outs. Instead walks him, and the Falmouth 2-out rally not finished yet.
No, it's not. I mean, the home run from Yannick extends the inning to a really good bat as well. And now Snell stands on first.
Christian Martin 0 for 2 so far. Going to face yet another left-handed arm. A lot of lefties in this Falmouth order, 6 of them, with 2 righties and then the switch hitter. Good pitch from Oxford to catch the edge, and yet another 0-2 count. Crowd still funneling in a little bit here at Guv Fuller Field. Catch some Wednesday night action. Martin fouls it back.
I mean, no reason not to when the Commodores are playing as well as they have been over this last 10-game stretch. Fans know here locally in Falmouth that the baseball is a lot better than it was the first 15 games of the year.
Another mile-high pop-up. Berg in foul territory makes the catch to retire Christian Martin. But Walker Yannick puts Falmouth back in front by 2. It's 3-1. In the 6th, Matt Venezia will have the play-by-play. But first, we're going to send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. 26 Commodores were drafted in this year's MLB draft, which came to a close last night. 18 former Commodores and 8 players from the current season's roster were selected in the draft. This adds to this 26 players adds to the thousands of Cape League alumni who have made it to the big show. It was great to see the stars of tomorrow shine tonight here at Guv Fuller Field, and we wish them the best of luck. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Destiny, for that, which moves perfectly into us finding out the answer to our trivia question we were talking about earlier. Braden Taylor now heading down to Tampa, close to where I'm from, down there in Florida now. But nonetheless, 19th overall selection yesterday. Braden Taylor, it's good to see that. Good to have a Commodore be up there in that first round.
It is, and he had a really good year at TCU this year. Made some nice plays even all the way into the College World Series in Omaha, and just continued to show why he was such a highly touted prospect.
So Cash Thomas continues his warm-ups. We mentioned he had the 1-2-3 in the 5th inning with the 2 strikeouts we saw, keeping those fans there in attendance in happy spirits here. And Walker Yannick with the bit of insurance needed. We'll see how the Commodores arms the rest of the way, try to protect this 2-run lead as we get ready for the 6th inning. Matt Venezia, Zach Serdenik, and Destiny Sanchez, we heard from her a second ago. Good look in at the dugout there of James Shevchik in here another season. His 9th for the Whitecaps. Cash Thomas back to the hill here against the Whitecaps. First pitch here, backdoor breaking ball. Maybe got the back foot of Jeff Merzell there, maybe there in the box. Home plate umpire.
Definitely hit something. It could have been the plate or whatever it was. It took a big hop.
Trying to find this one back more over the middle. Same result, though. It's 2-0 to Will Turner leading it off here in the box for the Whitecaps. Turner, base hit back in the 1st. Was a part of a stretch of back-to-back hits before the 6-4-3 double play. The heater here stays hot, but off the plate. Not the way you want to start this inning if you're Cash Thomas. Can't find the corner. Cash Thomas maybe thought that he got it there, and then on 4 pitches, this inning begins with a leadoff base runner for the Whitecaps.
Not what you're looking for, especially with the middle of the order coming up in some thumpers in Berg, Tibbs, and Ferrer. The next 3 for Brewster. Really looking for a ground ball if you're Thomas. Try and get 2 caps with 1 stone here.
I like what you did there. Getting 2 caps. Wouldn't mind it here, although the tying run now stands in, and Derek Berg left the yard last time up. Solo shot, the only bit of offense for the Whitecaps here. Cash being careful there. Zips the fastball up and away in there for a strike. Can't give him anything to hit here. It was on an 0-1 count, though, that he left the yard here at the Guv. But the base runner, Will Turner, standing on first. Shake of the head no there behind the plate from Jeff Merzell. That one was flirting with it for just a second. Makes it 1-1. A couple of guys in that home plate area right now responsible for a pair of long balls here aside for both teams. Walker Yannick behind the plate. Extended the lead for Falmouth to 2 in this previous inning in the 5th. Never a chance on that one. Yanked the heater. Friendly hitters count to Berg. It's 2-1. Talking about Cash Thomas. Out of Duke this year, just finished up his freshman campaign for the Blue Devils. Going on the pitch is Turner. The throw down. Really good effort there on the tag by Bazana. Throw is behind him. Almost made it close there. It's a swipe back for Turner. And a 3-1 count now for the man in the box in Berg.
Thomas had a lot of success with that fastball in his first inning of work. Kind of went away from it a little bit here in this inning, trying to avoid getting hit really hard by this middle of the order. See if he goes back to it, tries to get himself back in this count.
Went to the curveball behind 2-1, now behind 3-1. Hot stuff, stays inside, and it's back-to-back walks. Already 8 of them now for Cash Thomas. Through just 2 2/3 plus of work here on the Cape so far, dating back to the Orleans matchup the other day when he walked 6 Firebirds in that game. And now James Tibbs will step in. Massive spot here for the Whitecaps, who have out-hit the Commodores to this point 6-4 as we begin this 6th inning. First pitch stays up. There is activity in the Falmouth bullpen for what it's worth here. Garrett Coe, the man stretching, had a really good outing last time, did Coe. I believe a pair of strikeouts for him in that inning of work. Behind in the count once again is Cash Thomas. This one's barreled out there to left. Martin has to backpedal. It's off the top of his glove. It won't be an out, but the damage is limited. Was almost pirouetting out there and left. Could not make the play. We're going to call it a base hit, and the bases are fully Brewster with still nobody out.
That one hurts. Kind of guy in Martin that's not used to playing left field. Took a decent route on the ball, just put the glove up and couldn't catch it.
Now Jaime Ferrer, the Seminole, leads the Whitecaps in runs scored. He's got a chance to increase the other number that involves scoring runs with RBIs right here. Everywhere you look, it's Brewster right now. Those teal jerseys on every bag at this point. And again, behind in the count is Cash Thomas, 1-0. Walker Yannick, the veteran, will go calm down the youngster. Was talking to Walker about that offensively in terms of the different catchers that he's been around here on the Cape, being a veteran himself. You know, if he likes picking the brains of some of those different backstops across the different schools nationwide. You mentioned Ross Highfill, Austin Kelly, now Luke Heyman here, and some of the tendencies guys like to have behind the plate. But something universal is when your pitcher's struggling a little bit with his control, you need to be the guy to go out there and chat, right?
Just got to keep him locked in and keep himself going as well as keep Thomas going, make sure they're on the same page and make sure they can find each other and settle in.
Massive chance for Ferrer, ahead 1-0. Getting the zone right back up and in. Ferrer, 2 for 5 this season with the bases juiced. And that includes 5 runs driven in. Gabe Gross, our stats guy here, helping us out with that nugget that is certainly of use in this count. Curveball, curved too much. It's 2-1.
This is a spot where, with the bases loaded, a strikeout early in this would be really massive. And when Thomas is finding the zone, he definitely has that strikeout stuff.
Went after a 2-1 fastball low and away. Humphreys camps. He's got a good arm. Tagging from third. The throw in will go to third. The run scores. Turner crosses home. And a job done there. A productive out for the Whitecaps. Cuts the Falmouth lead in half.
Humphreys was trying to split the runners there. Gave it a good effort, but allows the runner to move up to third. Trying to limit the damage as much as possible. You hold that runner at first base by not throwing to the plate. Ground ball, you can still get out of this inning with a double play ball.
Add an RBI in that bases loaded situation for Ferrer. He's got 6 of them now this season in that spot. Comes big up there for the Whitecaps. Still a chance to get more. Massive hook here, stayed up and away to Mason White. The Wildcat from Tucson had a double off the wall and right last time up. Infield playing normal depth with McGregor holding at first. The middle infield playing tight to the bag at second, trying to turn two. Maybe a friendly call there from Jeff Merzel. Yannick was set up outside Zach, and we were mentioning that earlier. When a catcher's got to be loud back there, you don't always get that call, even if it is still in the zone.
Yeah, but I always have a lot of respect for an umpire that'll make that call whether the catcher is moving or not, and that caught the out or the inside part to the lefty, and Merzel was right on it.
Cash Thomas trying to tightrope out of this situation here, still holding the lead for Falmouth. In a 1-1 count. Yanked the fastball. Nice pick there by Walker Yannick. You know, something through here would help the Whitecaps, but can't rule out the possibility of something wild. Derek Berg moves relatively quickly out of West Point. He's the man at third. James Tibbs' hit that he got credited to out in left stands at first. Yanked the fastball here, not getting the call there that time. That one stayed a little bit too inside. Cash Thomas laughing a little bit up there on the mound. Makes it 3-1 behind the count here to White.
Just trying to settle himself down, loosen up a little bit.
Big swing and a miss. Went to his go-to pitch, the fastball up. And now you're one strike away from a big second out here.
Has to put this in the zone. Whether it's the fastball or the curveball or any of his four pitches that he's got, have to throw this pitch over the plate.
Good look at Cash there, getting ready to fire. The full count pitch. Fouled straight back.
Yeah, it was on the move there, trying to take the double play really out of the equation by sending that runner. It's risky if you swing and miss, put yourself in a strike him out, throw him out type situation, but I don't mind that move from Jamie Shevchik. I wouldn't be surprised to see it again on another 3-2.
Same situation here, trying to find the putout is Cash Thomas. The offering. Inside, called third strike. The same pitch we saw earlier. Jeff Merzel stays honest, as you mentioned there behind the plate. That's a big second out for Falmouth.
It is. Mason White disagrees, but Trackman had it as a strike, and he finds himself into the zone. And now we've got ourselves a pinch hitter.
Josh Pearson will step in out of Louisiana State, the Tiger.
One Tiger pinch hitting for another.
That's right.
This Tiger's been red hot, though. 389 average to start the summer for the Whitecaps. He's swinging a good bat. They're going to him in a big spot right now.
It is a big spot, as you mentioned, with Pearson seeing the first one in there for a strike. Against Cash Thomas. Already the 6th different Whitecap now to bat in this inning. Falmouth still on top by 1. Yannick's home run in the 5th now stands as the go-ahead run, given the sacrifice fly we saw from Jaime Ferrer. Yannick trying to back pick. Getting back is James Tibbs. Not by much, though. You got to be wary back there. Yannick trying to do it himself.
The ball bounced in, and Tibbs tried to get himself started on a dirt ball read to see if that ball bounced away from Yannick, if he could move up 90 feet. But instead, Doors backstop came up throwing. Tibbs had to get back quickly.
Pearson, the team leader in average, trying to find a way to use that stat here. He goes up the ladder. Long run there in left. Christian Martin gets underneath it near the left field line. And that's a big out against the best bat in the order. Coming off the bench, but coming up empty. Not before the Whitecaps get one back, though. It's still 3-2 Falmouth. Moving on to the bottom half.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats of the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll doors.
Back inside the broadcast booth, Matt Venezia, Zach Serdenik, Destiny Sanchez down at the field. It's been a pitcher's duel. We haven't seen too many of these during this stretch of Falmouth because the offense has been so good. If you're Jeff Trundy and Mike Landry, how do you tightrope through the rest of this ball game when you haven't really had to over the last week and change?
Yeah, well, you just try to keep playing good baseball one pitch at a time. You continue to work good at bats. You continue to fight your way through and get yourself into the back half of this bullpen. Garrett Coe was warming. He can go. You've got a few other guys that have really good stuff. Also, Braden Davis, who was supposed to start a few games ago, he was getting loose earlier. They might try to save him for another start in this long stretch, but I think he might be available as well.
Speaking of Braden Davis, I mean, you see Chatham in a couple of days because of the rainout. Maybe you save him for that game because he was supposed to pitch in the fog-out game. He did pitch in that game that we saw, 19 up, 19 down. Something about Braden Davis and the Chatham A's. But we'll see when, again, you talk about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Another one right there. As we get ready for the bottom half of the 6th inning. Pearson was retired there to end that frame, and now Gavin Keelan, the first man to bat for the Doors. In the bottom half of the 6th, Keelan right up there at the tippy top for the Doors in runs driven in as well as hits for this team. We were talking about the all-star lineup potentially getting revealed here rather soon. Gavin Keelan out of Louisville certainly should have his hand in that ballot in trying to find a way to play baseball in Harwich in just a couple of days.
Got to think he's going to have a chance, especially if he can heat back up the way he was a few games ago. Because there are some pretty good shortstops that will be finding their way onto some of these teams, but Keelan has to have made himself a pretty good argument, especially being here since opening day and continuing to produce.
Would have to imagine that Travis Bazzana should have something to say in that discussion as well. I think a fastball there up and in, left on left. Keelan spoils it foul.
You think Bazzana, you think McGregor, and then the sneaky one is also Cade Snell, who's continued to produce again and again and again.
366 hitter entering today's game is Snell, 1 for 2 officially. The pair of RBIs back in the first. Keelan still working it here, 1 and 2. Gavin was dealing with a little bit of an injury in that Katuitt game that was resumed on July 6th. There was a double play situation with him fielding it at second. Got rolled up on, left the ball game. Good to see him back, though, over the last couple of games.
Yeah, he's feeling good. Just got a little bit of a bruise on that slide into second as he was trying to field that ball, but he's ready to go.
Baseball is a contact sport, as it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, but just got contact on it, actually. That's why it popped in and out of the glove. Gavin Keelan buys himself another one. But this Falmouth team continues to surge pretty much every day that we talk about them. Several offensive statistical categories in the top 5 in the Cape League across many different digits. One we haven't seen a whole lot recently, though, is the stolen base number. The Doors are still standing firm in second with 46. The Bourne Braves, they've just been running on everyone. They're up to 73.
Yeah, they had a game with 10 stolen bags a little bit ago. They have just been out of control on the base paths.
What a take by Gavin Keelan. Not quite sure the Whitecaps thought that one was up. Jeff Merzell says otherwise, and it's a leadoff base runner. Falmouth trying to get that run right back that the Whitecaps took from them.
That's what they've been so good at over these last 10 games, is when they give up a run, they find a way to score one and sometimes even more to not just respond, but extend upon their lead and really just crush the spirits of their opponents.
Nate Humphreys showed bunt, pulled it back. You like the speed with Keelan. And down the stretch here in this ball game, every run will count. Slicing that one foul. It's Nate Humphreys. I want to thank you for tuning in with us tonight here in this makeup game from July 10th baseball between the Whitecaps and the Commodores here. A lot of rain on Cape Cod that day. 4 of the 5 games were canceled a few days back there on the 10th. Fastball outer third, called third strike. Humphreys doesn't like it. He walks back with back-to-back looking strikeouts. That's the first out of the inning.
It's a good pitch. Painting the outside edge.
Lineup card flips to the top. John Spikerman. 2 singles today and 3 tries. One of them was a bunt. The other one, not hit all that much harder, was kind of just cue-shotted out into right. All of his appearances today have been from this right side of the home plate. The left side of home plate, but from the right-handed batter's box, I should say. First one spoiled foul for the Oklahoma Sooner. Has a stolen bag today as well. John's been running on everybody this year. Tough to double off him and the guy waiting on deck, Travis Bazzana. That is the situation here, though. Double play ball gets the Whitecaps out of the inning. Spikerman, good leave. As the hot stuff stayed a little too high, despite the frame effort there from Berg behind the plate. Jeff Merzell has been very, very consistent back there behind the plate. There's been several of those pitches on the top shelf that you've said are too high, whether the pitcher's like that or not. Spikerman having to do his best Twister impression there to spin away out of that one. 2-1.
Yeah, that one came running in on him. Doesn't want to feel that fastball on the shoulder. It doesn't feel good.
14 hits on the season for John Spikerman this year. And just barely diving back was Keelan. That was a really good move. Mike Phillips nearly got him.
And Keelan was moving on first move. Instead of trying to do what Spikerman did and just take second, he decides to try and get back. And if that was a better throw from Oxford, Keelan's probably out.
That's true. Haven't seen a door get picked off over at first base as Oxford delivers, and it's sent straight back by Spike, 2-2.
We haven't seen anybody get picked off on either side so far this season. We've seen a few guys close. We have seen a couple guys try to take second on first move and get thrown out, but no one picked off yet.
It amazes me how quick these guys break for second, though, and with how hot these pitchers are throwing, to still be able to slide and get in there safely by sometimes a lot. Another move over. Keelan again, not really getting the best read on that move from Oxford on the mound. Again, probably a better throw. He's got a good chance to get Gavin there at first. We'll see if he decides to go to the plate or back over to first. He decides option 1. The slider didn't slide enough. It's full.
Another good at bat from Spikerman, just continuing to make himself a tough out at the top of the order. He's seeing a lot of pitches right now, and that's what you want.
Whitecaps with 20 points this year, 4th place in the East to this point. Looking up at the Orleans Firebirds to this point. Fastball inside, stayed there. And a couple of walks to the bottom part of the order here, flipped up to the top, and John Spikerman, and now Bazzana gets his chance with runs to bring in. This is a good guy to have in this situation, Zach.
And it's been the story so far for the Whitecaps with the walks. I mean, 7 walks already between Phillips and Oxford. And now when you're walking guys, you want to throw something over the plate to get yourself feeling better, but you can't do that easily against Bazzana without getting hurt.
Really good hold of the swing there. The check still goes. Jacob Ashworth says no. He's now in on the infield grass as Ashworth. He's been down the third base line tonight with Travis Bazzana. The Beaver with a good chance here. Gets a hold of this one out into fairly deep left center. Still giving chase, and right in front of the wall, Turner tracks it down. Keelan able to tag. No one's going, though, on second, and that's why Spike advances as well. no one covering the bag, and that's a productive out nonetheless with 2 away.
It is. It's a good swing once again from Bazana. Hasn't found the results yet today, and that hit streak in danger. He'll probably get one more at bat in this ball game, but it was still a good swing.
At the middle infield of the Whitecaps, a little asleep there. Mason White and Peyton Green. No one there really expecting Spikerman to be able to go to second as well. You got to be so careful with him, with how fast he is. In a situation where a hit from DeBarge here now with 2 away could certainly bring in both runners.
A lot of times you have the first baseman as well running over to kind of work as that de facto man covering second base when the throw you would expect is going to go to third. And so it was a little bit of a late jump towards that bag from Tibbs, who's now moved over to first base after the shifting we've had following that pinch hitter.
A pair of walks amongst those 7, as you've talked about, between the 2 arms of Brewster today for Kyle DeBarge. Popped out last time up in on the infield. So officially 0 for 1 is DeBarge, but he's ahead 2-0. Hasn't really had too many pitches to look at here. He swung at a couple earlier on in those walks at bats, and then obviously the pop fly. That one, though, is ripped down in the left. One will score. Spike's got all the speed in the world, and that's the situation. A 2-run single with the help of the base running of Falmouth brings in 2 doors. It's 5-2 here in the 6th.
DeBarge stays hot, just continuing to swing a good bat. That one into triple digits on the exit velocity. Hit every stitch of that baseball out into left. And the Doors not only respond, but extend once again.
Tyler McGregor gets plunked here. Looked to be on the protective gear that he wears. He's okay. Ran right over to first. Can't even catch our breath to talk about after the DeBarge 2-run single. It's been a pair of 2-run singles today for Falmouth, aside from the Yannick solo shot, who now steps in. But this team always finds ways to come through offensively, whether it be, in this case, now Yannick in the 5-hole, DeBarge in his 3 spot. Got good at-bats worked down in the bottom of the order, too, with Gavin Keeling getting on. And the record remains to keep churning in the direction of Falmouth here, as Yannick leaves that one downstairs.
Something they've been so good at over this stretch. It's really been a tale of 2 seasons for the Doors, and we're almost at halfway for each. I mean, it's been first 15 and then the last 10, and now into this one is 11.
Deep drive into right by Yannick, still giving chase. It's off the top of the wall and right. DeBarge will score with ease. McGregor still churning the legs, and he'll get in. Back-to-back extra base hits for Walker Yannick, and he picks up RBIs 2 and 3 on the night, and the lead extends to 5.
We talked during Yannick's first plate appearance back in the first about how he's been a guy that's been quietly producing and just coming through, but hasn't been as splashy. Well, he's making a cannonball tonight, Matt, right into the middle of this order with a bang. 2 RBI double there following that home run, just continuing to show why he was so highly touted at Sam Houston State this year.
71 runs driven in for Walker Yannick at school this year with the Bearcats. Picks up 2 there as he stands on second. And we continue with Cade Snell, trying to keep the inning alive. 4 home for the Doors, and a lot of it here with 2 out. Fastball stays upstairs. It's 1-1.
Yeah, the last 5 runs for Falmouth, actually, looking all the way back, all 7 runs in this game have come with 2 away.
That's a nugget. That will certainly be the story of this ball game, given its trend. Snell gets a hold of this one out into left. Camping underneath it, though, again, right in front of the wall, is James Tibbs for the final out of the inning, but not before Falmouth puts across 4. This one's broken wide open here in the 6th inning. As we step away, we look to see what Homer's up to keep the fans going here at the Guv. Cassius Thomas worked through 2 innings of work for Falmouth. And now with the big lead, they go to the big lefty in Garrett Coe out of UConn.
Big-time offensive production in the bottom half of that 6th. Helps Coe feel a lot better about himself, but he's been pretty good overall on the summer for the Doors. 7 innings pitched across his 4 appearances, 5 hits, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts in that span. His last appearance was a scoreless 1-2-3 inning against YD, where he picked up a couple of strikeouts along the way.
He worked so efficiently in that outing, just the 1 inning. Nice hold situation. Thought it was his best overall appearance so far. Faced the minimum and struck out 2. But now out there here to hopefully try to do some of the same. A couple of fastballs here. Not able to find any of them right now.
He's got a 3-pitch mix. He'll mainly use the fastball changeup, but does have a slider that he mixes in as well. Threw a couple of them against YD.
There's one of them right there, back over the middle of the plate. This one pulled a little bit heavy, foul, into the trees over there with the fans gathered in left. The Doors right now looking pretty good. Went up after 6, 9-1 on the season. The Whitecaps, though, trying to maybe rally here a little bit as a couple of pulled balls there into left wind up foul once again. 9-1 went up after 6, and meanwhile the Whitecaps in response. Not good when those guys are trailing after 6. 2-11 on the year when Brewster is behind on the scoreboard. Way to battle all the way back. It's the hot stuff upstairs. Coe gets a swinging strikeout for the first out of the 7th.
It's been a night to forget for Peyton Green so far, but Garrett Coe with a good start to his outing. As you mentioned, can't start much better than a strikeout.
No, you cannot. Lineup card back up to the top. Michael Robertson working on a 1-for-3 day from the left side. The Florida Gator takes upstairs. Got into a situation after he was able to reach with a base hit in the 3rd. Got thrown out. Laying the bunt down. Yannick got it right away, but Jeff Merzell saying it's foul. Good for Coe here to work ahead again. Getting right back into the zone there with the help of that foul bunt.
Robertson did not see Garrett Coe when he started against Florida in that first game of the NCAA tournament between the two teams down in the Gainesville Regional, but now gets to see him here.
Coe was using 55 innings this year out of the Big East with UConn. That was a career high for him this year. Doesn't throw the hardest in the world, but he doesn't have to. Really tall presence there, standing 6'6", 258. That'll work to your help. The 3-1 right there for a strike. Got such big presence, he could play the 4 or the 5 there for Dan Hurley, the defending national champions in UConn.
Might be a little short to play the 4 or the 5 there. They've got a lot of giants on that team.
That is true. Ground ball, 2 away.
Really good run they made this year in basketball to win that national title. That team was filthy good.
A lot of fun in that March Madness time. Sure, a lot of these guys making brackets and having fun, pulling for their, not only for their universities, but for their fellow athletes as well. Garrett Coe getting a pop-up here. Bazana's been pretty busy this inning. Gets called off, though, by the newest man into the ball game. Tab Tracy makes the play in right center. Coe again working a 1-2-3 frame and a 0 put up by the Whitecaps. We're going to stretch real quick and come back for more Falmouth Bats here at the Guv.
Do your kids have big league dreams? Do they want to learn from the stars of tomorrow? Then check out the Falmouth Commodores Summer Baseball Clinics, where kids from the ages of 5 to 14 can hone their skills in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching with help from the best college players in the nation. The clinics run from June to late July, and the 6 4-day sessions are divided by age group and experience level. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Give your kids a summer of baseball and a lifetime of memories.
Another Oklahoma State Cowboy will toe the rubber. Drew Blake from the left side. They've been all lefties today for the Whitecaps. He'll make his appearance here in the bottom of the 7th.
Makes sense. They're going to a lot of left-handed arms against a very lefty-heavy lineup in Falmouth. You've got a new hitter that'll lead it off in Tab Tracy after that defensive replacement for Christian Martin, but you guessed it, he's also a left-handed hitter. So you're going to see 3 straight from the left side to start off the outing for Blake. He was 1-0, 28 appearances for Oklahoma State this year. Had himself an ERA sitting at 5.46, but he's got some good stuff and showed flashes of why he was really highly sought after at Oklahoma State.
Will try to do one better than his fellow southpaw here at the Whitecaps. And Brendan Oxford got tagged 2 innings, 3 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned. Walked 3 Commodores and only struck out 2. En route to that 4-run bottom of the 6th inning, which stands the lead of Falmouth 7-2. The Whitecaps in that same inning, though, in the top half of the 6th, put in a run to make it 3-2. It's a close ball game until the Doors broke it open. A low bouncer there into Berg. It's 1-1 to Tab.
Just trying to continue to extend and play good baseball. That's what they've done all night long.
Tracy a little behind on that one, getting his first cuts of the day. We saw Tab yesterday in the win on the road for Falmouth. Tracy in that one, 2 hits and 5 tries, both of the base hit variety, although one of them was short down the third base line in on the infield grass there at Spillane, was able to beat it out. Also reached on an error. Was on the bases a lot yesterday in that 9-hole in the order for Jeff Trundy. The 2-2. Right back up the middle, and that gets through. Tab Tracy doing what his numbers on the back of his jersey, the sticks, picking up a single to lead off this inning.
He's been good throughout the summer. Got here and didn't really know exactly what to expect from him because he didn't play a ton at Texas A&M, but he has produced again and again and again for Falmouth.
He's been so much fun to watch as Tab Tracy out of College Station, as you mentioned, SEC program. .292 hitter. Entering today's action is Tracy. You can maybe do the math yourself, but now increasing that number with that hit here in his first try. Keelan a little late on it. 1-1. Gavin 0 for 2 today. Walked last time and scored as a part of that Kyle DeBarge 2-run single in the previous inning. 8 Commodores came to the plate. The throw down is Tab. Will get in there safely. He swipes a bag there, does Tracy. Picks up stolen base number 3 on the campaign. And now an immediate threat in scoring position to try to extend the lead.
You mentioned that Falmouth hasn't been stealing as many bags as of late, but quietly already bags tonight. A couple of them coming on one play on that double steal back in the first, but just finding a way to put runners in scoring position.
Check down to third, didn't go. That double steal came to the credit of the at-bat with Christian Martin's first at-bat. He struck out, so they were stranded regardless, but did pick up 2 of the 4 we've seen tonight. Gavin Keelan now. Went after that one in the dirt. He's back swinging, strike 3 on the 2-2. It was a 2-2 count. We'll get that fixed here in a second. Gavin goes back. Second strikeout of the day for the first out of the inning. Speaking of 2 strikeouts, Nate Humphreys has 2 of them to his name today. Looking for his first hit down in the 9th spot in the order with John Spikerman awaiting on deck. Humphreys, his big breakout game. We talk about it, Wareham, first of 2 that we went there to Spillane. But the other day, and part of this win streak against Katuitt, as this one gets through the wickets of Berg. Tab Tracy standing up. You see him there rounding the bag at third. Humphreys 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. back on July 4th in that makeup game that was played on the 6th. That one went off of Jeff Merzell. You can see him there hunched over a little bit. You don't want to see that. One of the very best umpires, former Cape League Umpire of the Year. Hope he's okay. Sometimes all it is, and you can't see the conversation right now on your screen, but sometimes all it is just finding a couple seconds to regather yourself. Not fun back there. Relying on the backstop to keep you safe back there. All that gear is there just in case, but doesn't always get everything.
We've seen Jeff Merzell a lot this year, and he's really been good behind the plate and in the field. So he's hoping to be okay. Seems to be laughing it off. I think that one might have got him on his hand. He's kind of hoping it and been playing with the left hand a little bit, but seems to be good to go.
Gave us a little point back here to the booth. Did Jeff Merzell. And a good guy there. And you see Nate Humphreys, too, having a conversation with him. So we should be able to resume here with our home plate umpire being all right here. It's 7-2 Falmouth. The Doors coming alive here with the hits over the last inning and change. 7 runs, 7 hits. No mistakes for the Doors tonight here at home. With the Brewster Whitecaps 2-7-1 reading across their line. Humphreys now, he hurts himself. Fouls him off there. He'll walk that one off a little bit. 1-2.
Doesn't feel good on that spot either, but he's ready to get back into there.
The Commodores finishing up a stretch of games, taking on some opponents outside of the East Division. The Doors beating YD the other day, as well as Orleans. We're supposed to see Chatham, as this one's lined by Humphreys for out number 2. Tagging is Tracy, and he comes in to score. Productive out, makes it 8 for the Doors now.
Ball wasn't hit that deep. It was hit pretty hard on a line by Humphreys, but Tracy with a good jump, and the throw in from Robertson had a couple of bounces to it, and that allowed Tracy to slide in ahead of it.
Tab Tracy, an immediate impact. Coming off the bench here in this inning to come in. I was getting to the note of finishing up this East Division swing before the Doors will hit the road to Dorn Park tomorrow.
And back here Friday and Saturday. Got the Centennial celebration on Saturday before the Doors take on Chatham.
2 original 4 teams in the Cape League in Chatham and Falmouth. But a big one tomorrow on the road. We'll have it for you. The Doors still looking for win number 1 on the year against those Braves, the defending champs last year. Spikerman just barely gets wood on it. It's 1-2. The Doors have earned a point, though, in the standings against that team in Bourne. 0-2-1 officially on the year against the Braves. They've been playing some good baseball now, climbing up this division after being in the basement for the first week or so. Spikerman went down fishing. He'll have to run it out, and the putout recorded. One more run for Falmouth comes across here in the 7th by way of Tab Tracy coming across home plate on the sacrifice. 8-2 for the good guys. We'll send it downstairs to Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. For some scores around the Cape, Katuitt Cavaliers lead the Harwich Mariners 6-1. The YD Red Sox and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks are tied 3-3 in the bottom of the 7th. And the Bourne Braves lead the Chatham Anglers 6-5 in the bottom of the 7th.
Hey, Commodore fans. The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Guv Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
Will Turner will step in here and have an opportunity with his guys trailing by a big number here on the road. Garrett Coe still remains out there for Falmouth in his second inning of work now. No activity yet. I mean, Coe, last time, really quick inning of work that he had in his last appearance. He could, in theory, probably go the rest of the way here, needing 6 outs to close this one out.
Yeah, he made some starts for UConn this year. Has been used in longer situations in his career. And in a spot where you're playing 9 more games in the next 9 days, you got to save arms when you can.
That's true, but the Falmouth Commodores have done some shopping of their own here. Nolan Moore out of Northwestern added to the roster, as well as Cody Del Vecchio out of UCLA. Really good year in his freshman year for Del Vecchio. We'll see him within the next few days, I'd imagine. DeBarge just into the outfield grass there and left will make the play on the 1-2 count for the first out of the inning.
Just continuing to have really good command of where he's at in this game right now and just firing strikes, getting ahead of hitters, and doing the job.
Turner retired, brings in Derek Berg, the Black Knight out of Army West Point. Has himself a solo shot today, one of the 2 runs that the Whitecaps have put together today. Tab Tracy had a long pause before moving for that one. New addition into the lineup in this part of the ball game, picks up out number 2.
That's what you're looking for from Coe. He's thrown himself 20 pitches, and he's already gotten himself 5 outs.
That's what you like to see, especially in trying to save arms and maybe see Coe for another inning after this. First pitch swinging, it's chopped. If I'm not mistaken, Coe entered into the ball game when it was still a save situation of a 3-run lead. So in theory, I believe this would be a save for Garrett Coe.
It would have been a 5-run lead at that point, but when he entered. But I think there's still a save chance if he pitches the final 3 innings of this game as well. So we'll let you know.
Sharp line drive right where it came in the 2-strike situation, and a base hit for James Tibbs, who's moved over the place here today. Started in left, and then because of a substitution, he now moves to first base out in the field for the Whitecaps. And now, as a base runner, he stands there with 2 away in the 8th. Jaime Ferrer, credited with the 2nd run on the scoreboard for the Whitecaps, had himself a sacrifice out to right. Humphreys was the right fielder at the time. The throw went into 3rd. Didn't contest the base runner who came in to score. That was Will Turner. Sharp ground ball, just foul. But you like the way this is going for the Doors, trying to pick up win number 9 in the team's last 11 games. That's exactly as hot as you want to be going into Doran Park tomorrow, with Falmouth expected to pick up win number 12 and get back to 500 on the season.
Which is a crazy turn in events in and of itself, because you look at where this team was through 15 games at 3, 10, and 12, and finding their way back to 500 already before even the midway point of July definitely was not expected by many people.
Wave and a miss, up and away. Garrett Coe picks up his 2nd strikeout of the ball game and strands that base hit. We'll probably see the big lefty out of UConn for the 9th. One last chance for Falmouth to do a little bit more on the runs here. We'll be right back.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Guv Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
New pitcher on the mound, Drake Quinn, the first right-hander we'll see tonight for the Whitecaps. Trying to just keep it where it is. A massive lead for the Doors here in the 8th.
Another game where the Doors are just trying to finish off things, put the finishing touches on win 9 in their last 11, and get to Bourne tomorrow with some more momentum.
The Aussie, Travis Bazzana, trying to extend his hit streak here on the line at the moment. Officially today, 0 for 3. Oregon State Beaver and Travis Bazzana, great numbers this year at school. Have seen them replicated to the max here. This one up the middle. Tough play there at second. An airmailed throw. Should be a hit regardless. And he goes out of play. Not only does Bazzana move to second, but maybe more importantly for his personal metrics, he extends his hitting streak.
Yeah, that was going to be an extremely tough play for Peyton Green. Even if that throw is on the money, he's probably not getting Bazzana, who's so quick down that line from the left side.
So Bazzana, the man at second. The Doors certainly don't need any more insurance, but when you're looking at a situation where runs and runs scored will come into play in terms of seeding and potential tie-breaking situations, you'll enjoy adding on as much as you can with Kyle DeBarge in there now. 2-run single back in the 6th inning. Working on a 1-for-2 day officially, though, because of the pair of walks and consecutive at-bats to begin the ball game.
And going back to trying to get some more runs, it helps you get some momentum, because when you call off the dogs per se, it can really hurt you mentally.
Productive out here from Kyle DeBarge, not that it's entirely needed, as we've been discussing here. 4-3 putout allows Bazzana to move on to third, and now Tyler McGregor. He's been swinging a hot bat recently, yet no hits for him today, though. He's been working on a very small portion of a hit streak, just 2. The win at Orleans, a 6-3 win, the only game where Tyler McGregor didn't have a hit to this point here with Falmouth. He's been so good. That probably flew under the radar from us. McGregor, a 372 hitter here. Right now, the active leader in average for the Commodores. Entering today's action, that is.
It may have flown under the radar from us, but it certainly didn't around the league. Cape League Player of the Week this week. Entering in, trying to continue that hot start to the summer.
We were also saying it may have flown under the radar because of all the draft posting and many, many Cape League players, not even just with Falmouth, getting drafted and getting the calls throughout the weekend. The 2-0 stays away. He was hit by a pitch last time, so has made it on base. He scored on Yannick's RBI 2-run double. McGregor, big guy, but he was able to score from first base. Fastball at 92, right down Broadway for the first strike of the at-bat. The Commodores will improve with a win today to 12-12-2. We mentioned it's been a long time since the Doors have been at 500 or better. The date with the number 2 team in this division, the Bourne Braves, tomorrow on the road. We heard a second ago the scores around the Cape from Destiny Sanchez, but as the Doors continue to climb throughout this division, you got to keep an eye on some of those games. The Braves on top right now, 6-5 to Chatham in the top of the 8th. So should that hold, Bourne will continue to separate itself from team number 3, YD taking on team number 3 in Hyannis. That's a 3-3 game there at McKeon Park.
And if YD wins that game and the Doors hold here, they would be just 1 point back of 3rd place in the division.
Swing and a miss. Couldn't quite get the pitch cutting back into the lefty, and McGregor, he walks back with a swinging strikeout for out number 2 of the inning.
Really good battle from Drake Quinn, who fell behind 3-0 to McGregor, but battled all the way back to get that punch out.
It's been a theme of picking multiple Commodores to be the best players of the game given this stretch, but Yannick would be my bet right now. Has 3 RBIs, a home run and a double, And he has reached every single time because of a pair of walks to begin his outing. The breakout game we've talked about and wanting to see from Yannick, who otherwise has been very quietly producing rather successfully for Falmouth. Off the end of the bat and deposited into right. It's a 3-hit game and a 4th RBI for Walker Yannick. And it's a 9 spot for Falmouth here in the 8th.
Really good piece of hitting. Got a fastball outside, just off the plate. Just pokes it the other way through the hole. Finds himself another knock.
The Doors have scored in 4 consecutive innings. You can see it right there in your shot. And 1 hit away, for what it's worth, from another double-digit hit effort from Falmouth today. This team just finds a way. Cade Snell, feels like so long ago, opened up the scoring back in the first with a 2-run single. Extended his 8-game hitting streak to 9 back then. Leaping play there at first. Will Snell beat it out? No, he will not. Really aggressive. Called out there from Joe Gravina to end the inning, but not before another Falmouth Commodore comes across. It's 9-2. 3 outs away from a win. We'll be right back.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats of the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll doors.
Falmouth Commodores trying to pick up the team's 4th consecutive W. It's been a part of a massive run of success for Falmouth and Jeff Trundy here. Would be Coach Trundy's 502nd career regular season win after 3 more outs here from Garrett Coe on the mound, looking to finish off the save because this is his 3rd consecutive inning in relief. Despite it being a 5-run lead of when he came in, it still counts as a save. Good swinging strike there, picked up against Mason White. The Wildcat today has a double and 2 strikeouts. Nice wave and a miss there at the fastball from Coe. Has 2 strikeouts in this relief appearance. This would be his longest relief appearance on the season for Coe. Nothing new for him, though. We mentioned his 55 innings this year. That was a career high at UConn. Nearly got that first out there. White was thinking about it.
That's the 3rd 3-ball count we've seen from Coe. The first 2 were the first 2 batters of his outing. He's thrown just 1 other ball.
Mason caught a barrel here. Just not enough juice on it as Tab Tracy, he's been busy since coming into this game in the 7th inning. Couple of putouts and a run scored already and a hit to go along for Tab Tracy.
That's what they tell you. When you come into the game off the bench, the ball will find you, and it has certainly found Tab Tracy.
Garrett Coe appreciative of that, able to work in that at-bat, find the first out. 7 outs of the way there for the save in a 3-inning situation. He's right back to work here against another late addition into this ball game, Josh Pearson, the team's best hitter to this point here in terms of average and making an impact here right out of the gate since winning that national title at Omaha this year.
And he came in a really big spot, had runners on the corners in a 3-2 game at the time. He got out, and then Falmouth put up 4 in the bottom half, and all of a sudden it was a 5-run game, and now it's a 7-run game.
Garrett Coe looking to go to his options here. A couple of shakes from Yannick there. Appears Yannick maybe wanted the fastball, trying to work backwards there on Pearson. The curveball was the decision, though, from the big, tall lefty. And now he gives him the changeup. Swing and a miss. 3 strikeouts for Garrett Coe, and the the Husky out of UConn is 1 out away from the save.
And he's got a member of the Wolfpack coming up now in Peyton Green, who has really struggled tonight, and the Doors trying to continue that dominance here and retire him one more time.
For what it's worth, a golden sombrero is on the line right now for Peyton Green. 3 trips to the plate, 3 strikeouts for the NC State product, although not very typical of him given the numbers he had at school this year. He leaves that one upstairs. Peyton Green, a .274 hitter, was very effective on the bases, leading the Wolfpack with 9 steals. On the ground here, foul for the first strike of the at-bat. Coe working backwards here, really for the first time all night. And this one will get down. No sombrero for Peyton Green. It's his first hit of the day. And a little bit of traffic to contend with before this one's wrapped up. It's a 2-out knock into left.
Off speed, the changeup away, and just kind of slapped it off the end of the bat. But finds some outfield grass and keeps the game alive.
Michael Robertson's able to get a 5th at-bat tonight. Coe hoping he's the only Whitecap to earn that honor of receiving 5 plate trips today. Everyone in the order has batted 4 times, now except for Robertson, who takes that one in there for a strike.
Coe gave up a 2-out single last inning, but bounced right back with a strikeout, trying to do the same here and shut the door on this one.
Rather slam the door, given the lead. Green is going. No one contending on the throw. We mentioned the 9 stolen bags at school for Peyton Green. He picks one up here on the summer season. No reason to contend with him, though. With the infield not even moving on that. Check swing, yes he did. That's a call there from Ashworth in on the infield grass, not down the line. Looked pretty good up here. I think that's the right call. And another situation for the Doors. 1 strike away from slamming the door on the Whitecaps here at the Guv. Off the end of the bat. Eats up McGregor. And he beats it out. Not done yet. They're on the corners with 2 out for the Whitecaps.
Still keeping themselves going.
Nearly a clean effort from Falmouth today, but Tyler McGregor is going to be given the error there. Not able to receive that one and flip it cleanly. And E3 extends a chance for Davis Diaz. The lead is 7 for Falmouth, so many more Whitecaps would have to reach. They are going. And now you got 3rd and 2nd with 2 away.
I think you're probably going to see another defensive indifference there, just allowing them to move on up.
Brewster, a little bit of 2-out magic here with the final out of the ball game still waning into balance here. Off the plate from Garrett Coe. But a really complete effort again by the Doors today, even if it didn't mean the team getting to double-digit hits. 9 runs on 9 knocks, but there were a lot of walks issued by the Whitecaps. Fastball in there for a strike. And for the 3rd consecutive at-bat, in a situation to put the ball game away with 2 strikes. Change up, changed a little too much there. Makes it 2-2. Waiting on deck is Will Turner. With Coe not wanting to get the game to Turner's bat in the box. The offering pulled foul.
Roped that pitch. He was out in front of it and yanked it down the line, but he got really good barrel on it. Got to think he's going to be expecting another fastball like that in this spot. We'll see if Coe goes to it or tries to change it up and throw something off speed.
Deuce is Wild with a chance for the victory. Swing and a miss. Got him to reach. A changeup away. Settles the Whitecaps and strands the runners to end the ball game. The Commodores pick up win number 4 in a row, and 9 of the team's last 11 riding on fire into Doran Park tomorrow in a massive game in this West Division, Zach.
Just continuing to play good baseball. That's all you can ask for in the Doors. Looking to get a win on the road tomorrow and keep it going into this upcoming stretch. Just feeling really good now with a 2-game cushion on that last playoff spot as well.
2 hours and 34 minutes is what it took today. But the Commodores having so many of those victory lines as you see out there right now. And a great effort that saw Falmouth's victory there. He had good outing from Evan O'Toole. Gave up 1 run, struck out 5 across the 6 hits. And it was a pitcher's duel for the first half of this ball game, Zach. But that's not how it ended, as Falmouth used 4 consecutive innings of scoring at least a run. And sometimes that's what it takes when the offense kind of gets going. You just ride with it.
It's exactly that. And you just continue to find yourself playing complementary baseball, I think has to be the best way to put it.
Cassius Thomas, the youngster, in line for the victory. Garrett Coe will get the save. Ahead of the win here for Falmouth tonight. And just a great effort by this group today. All those runs. A runner stranded in every inning but 1 for Falmouth today. En route to a total of 9 Doors on the bases left with 9 runs and 9 hits. The guys on the field got it done, but all those names there helped make it happen and bring it to you today on all the social media platforms and broadcasting services we provide here with the Falmouth Commodores. But for my broadcasting partners in Destiny Sanchez, Zach Serdenik right up here in the broadcast booth with me, I've been Matt Venezia saying so long and good night. The Commodores stay hot. We'll see the Bourne Braves tomorrow from Doran Park. We'll see you then.